nuts.
Yeah. Do you hear the news?
What's that?
That Kenny Rogers died?
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't hear it.
Yeah, that was sad.
When did he die?
A couple days ago.
Well, that sucks. Sucks to be Kenny.
Yeah.
Right?
He seemed to have a pretty good life, though. But he was only 81.
Only 81. I was just going to say, he's pretty much up there, isn't he?
Is 81 old?
Older.
I wouldn't want to be 81 now.
Right. So is your town going to be on lockdown from the coronavirus scam that they got going on?
I don't know. You know what my opinion is on this? Because I'm not an expert. You know, there's so many people that come out there like, oh, I'm an expert on this, but in my opinion, I just don't know enough about how shit could go. You know.
Right.
So there are some things though I find odd about the thing, though. You know.
Like what?
What are the possible conspiracy ideas of like what? Let's say. Reasons why it could have happened, right?
Oh, I got some good ones.
Okay, good. Well, here's mine. Ready?
Yeah.
Like, I think on the stock market you can buy these things called shorts, where you think something's not going to do as good, so you bet on that, and it usually pays like huge because the stock market's been doing great. So it's like a cheap bet. So.
Right.
It's like, so if a whole bunch of people bought like that the stock market would do bad, then they caused this, knowing that's what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Then these people make all this money.
Right.
Right. Like if I had known ahead of time that this was going to happen, like a year ahead of time, I could have probably figured out a way to do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? With very little money.
Right.
So,
didn't a lot of senators sell their stocks right before this?
That's something different. That's something different. What I'm talking about is like short selling.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're betting on the fact that it's going to crash.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's how you're doing
well,
it.
Well, yeah, that's something different, but don't you think if they knew about it, they did exactly what you said as well as selling off their shit?
Yeah. But at what point in time does it become sensical whether you own stock in something or not to sell it? Like right when they started restricting travel, let's say, then you'd be like, oh, I own a bunch of travel companies, I should sell it. Maybe the timing has to be examined closer. I mean, it might have just been a shrewd thing to do just from common knowledge, you know?
Right.
Just because they were briefed on stuff doesn't mean that they don't have the same foresight that other people have, and hopefully their investment people can see it coming. They're like, oh, they're restricting travel to China. We better get out of the travel industry. You know what I'm saying? It's like a knee-jerk reaction. And
right.
And so I think you got to examine each one of those cases individually and try to figure out what time all this happened in relation to when public people knew about it. Instead of just throwing them all under the bus like over, just because it's sensational, you know what I'm saying? One of the three could be innocent, it could have been a timing thing.
Here's my theory. My theory is that it's probably since Reagan was president, all the politicians are alien, and they're trying to get us all to stay home so they could gas us in our house and take over the planet Earth.
Is that it? It could be. It could be like an alien-induced thing, like from outer space.
Yeah, and they're going to make us all be at home.
Yeah.
They're going to gas the sewers. Your toilet's going to start bubbling, and you're just going to die from your fucking anthrax or some shit.
It seems like, they always show like aliens coming here and killing everybody off, like with all these lasers and stuff and big machines,
Yeah.
I picture it being more like something like where they just come and just gas the whole planet, or just...
That's what I'm saying.
Or put a disease on and just let them all die. That's
how much control
possible.
can you give, For instance, like, they're having a lockdown, but you could go do this and you could go do that. And I mean, they closed every fucking restaurant, every bar, everything. It's not like, what else you going to do other than go to the grocery store? Fucking,
you gotta eat.
Stupid. Yeah.
Like,
It's going to hit the shitter. It's going to hit the fan real quick because all these businesses here, they're like, this one lady, she owns like a salon, has 10 employees.
yeah.
Well, they're all laid off.
Yeah.
And she goes, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be closing the doors. They'll never come back.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, well, how are you going to take, they're like, we're going to give you $1,000. Big fucking deal.
Yeah.
How long can you make it on a grand? What
Right.
the fuck? The grand's just enough, I mean, to put gas in your car when you're living in your car to stay warm.
Yeah. That's about it. That's about it. I'm like classified as an essential business right now, so I have to stay open.
Well, why don't they make the landlords close shop too, for as far as rent is concerned, until this shit's over?
Well, they have mortgages on a lot of them buildings that they use that money to pay, so it's like you'd have to go all the way up the ladder on that.
They don't give a fuck if someone else has a mortgage on their house and they make them stay home.
Yeah. Well, it's eventually going to come to a point where those people would lose their houses. You know what I'm saying? It's just going to happen.
It's going to happen in droves, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
It's going to start tanking.
That's why I've been waiting to buy, because I was like, and now I'm going to be in a position soon probably where I'm going to be able to get a good deal, I would think.
Not only that, percentage rates are trying to slash into zero. You fucking buy in then, it's top of the line, bro.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna find someplace. Once it gets low enough, I'm gonna.
What's gonna happen is it's gonna filter out existing people. So they're like, what about the homeless? The government never gave a fuck about the homeless ever. Like, you're gonna care now?
Yeah.
But what's gonna happen is a lot of people are gonna lose their houses. A lot of people have already lost their jobs, which they may never get back.
Yeah.
A bunch of small businesses are going to go under, restaurants and whatnot, because they got to pay rent and shit, to rent where their, restaurant is, like at a strip mall or whatever. So basically, what's going to happen is a whole new generation of homeless people will be out there, and then all the people that didn't do shit up till now will be able to buy in because they sat in limbo for so long that they could, now that it's so cheap, they might just actually do something with their life. It's going to switch places.
Huh.
Because
I don't know. It's hard to say. I can't predict. Like I said, I'm no expert. I have no way to predict this.
Well, let's say, look at how the market skyrocketed here.
Yeah.
That's tanked. All those people that bought anything within the last 2 to 3 years are really going to get fucked. Because these houses they're going to tank like every other market when it crashes.
Yeah, right.
The housing market. So there's a lot of people that are going to foreclose because they're in way over their head as far as their mortgage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, one thing about it's like I feel like, because I don't really have a lot of bills, so it's like I just feel like I'm not extended to a point where I would immediately have to panic. But I think if I owned a house right now and was worried about losing my job, I would probably be a little bit more worried. I mean, right now, the most they can do to me right now is hit me up for 2 months' rent if I just bailed and figured something out on my own, you know what I'm saying, somehow, in a camper somewhere.
Well, check this out.
That's my next step.
There's going to be a lot of people bailing. Watch. There will be a ton of people bailing on their houses, just like the last time the market tanked.
Yeah.
And it's tanked now, and it's going to go down and down. Watch. Once it tanks, it don't go anywhere.
Well, because here's what happens. When you start getting way more people that are trying to sell than there are people that want to buy, then it just becomes a competition of how attractive they can make the sale. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's like an eye for all these fuckers out here that have been raking people.
Yeah.
They're getting their fucking payback now. There's probably some.
I like when they, on the news conferences, they show like this chart and they're like, when the graph flattens out, or when it's like they talk about this thing like it's some mystical thing. It's like, Do you mean when less people get it, then we'll be in better shape? It's like, what's the graph have to do with it?
I mean, we talked about this
fucking graph. I don't know how many times they've mentioned this fucking graph, but I don't want to hear about it again.
We've known about this for a lot longer.
Fucking morons.
Remember? We talked about it before, and I said, what was your view on it? And you said, well, the flu is way more dangerous. And they're like, well, the coronavirus. I'm like, well, these are the same people that are dying from the flu are dying from corona.
Right.
It's the weak immune system, the elderly and young people. That's who die from this. No, way, way less people than the flu.
So far. But percentage-wise, the people who get it who die is higher. That's the problem. That's what you got to go by. Like, and what's if this is a seasonal thing? You know, like every year we get like an increase in the winter of it because people spread it more. And then in the summer it decreases, and then every winter, just like the flu, it just starts to become another thing that we get. Now we get colds, the flu.
Well,
and then eventually we're going to get the cold every couple of years, the flu, and coronas every couple of years. It'll be like 3 things now we got.
Is it true it really came from someone eating bats and shit just recently?
Yeah. That brings up another point that I was going to get to later, but since you brought it up, I might as well get it over with.
In 1993, they had a Simpsons episode of the coronavirus where they opened a package from Japan and the coronavirus got out and killed a bunch of people. Well, did they know about the coronavirus 25 years ago or 26 years ago? Or what? Or did they just call it the coronavirus after the Simpsons because they're really snaking everybody with this stupid thing?
I was thinking that, you know, they call it the Chinese, or Trump was calling it the Chinese virus, which is upsetting people. But it did come from China, and to me, it's like, eventually you should be able to track down where this came from. And then, whatever it is they're doing over there, stop fucking doing it. That causes this shit. Don't do it anymore. If it's eating monkeys, stop eating monkeys. I don't know what to tell you, but you're causing, because you want to eat monkeys, you're causing problems for everybody else. And another thing, you Chinese, here's another thing. A rhino horn is just fingernail, okay? Stop with your crazy-ass bullshit that you're just causing the whole world grief, it turns out, with all your bullshit. God damn, you people suck.
Can't we hold them accountable for it?
Yeah, we should be able to sue them for it.
Yeah.
The whole expense of this whole thing.
Because they spread this disease.
Yeah, they caused this by doing something in one of their freaky-ass markets somewhere.
Yep.
So, someone's got to find out where it came from and find out and stop from those people from doing whatever they're doing. I don't care what it is. Give those people the hand sanitizer. That's where we got to send it to.
What's funny is how many times do you see they show China and they're wearing those masks anyway? It's like they know.
Oh, that's Japan. That's Japan.
Oh, that's Japan?
Yeah. After the SARS thing hit, they started wearing masks, and then some people just never quit wearing them because they just got used to them, you know, and it became like a social thing. And the way I kind of like it, if I ever go visit Japan, I'm just going to wear a mask everywhere. Because people do it so commonly, it won't be like something weird that I'm doing. And plus, then I'll be hidden everywhere I go with this mask on.
That's what it is.
It's to keep yourself it's people that have social anxiety or people that want to be incognito. It became more socially acceptable. Now, I think masks now are going to become more socially acceptable here. We should, make designer masks, you know what I'm saying?
They already have them.
Yeah, well, they got to make better ones.
Ones that are yours, right?
Yeah, ones that fit my style. Oh, God. Another thing, too, is when people are out in the world and they're, ridiculing people they think are Chinese, you know, it's like what kind of bully freak does that? It's like, first of all, this one lady I heard, she was from Cambodia. She wasn't even Chinese. Some of these idiots think that everybody that's Oriental is Chinese. It's like, dude, there's 14, 15, 20... 30 countries over there at least that are Orientals. They're all not Chinese, you morons. Some of them are Korean. Some of them are, what was it? She was Cambodian. Some are Filipino. Some are Vietnamese, Cambodian. Did I say Japanese? I might have left them out. I think they're Oriental. God damn, you people are stupid. They're all not Chinese. Some of them are Chinese. But they're all not Chinese. If you're gonna ridicule people, at least ridicule the right people. You have no leg to stand on. When you ridicule Cambodian, you've got no leg to stand on in court. You know? It's like, at least if they're Chinese, you're okay. All I hear is wind out of your mouth. Dude, are you having a heart attack?
No, I don't know what happened. I lost you for a second.
Oh, you missed the big old story I told. You're breathing too much in the mic, though. It's like all like windy.
I'm outside.
Oh, you're outside? Sorry. It's actual wind.
It's actual wind.
Is it windy in the mountains?
It was earlier.
Huh. Oh, you want me to call you back later?
No.
All right.
This is my only time that you're awake and I'm and.
That's my problem. I was just telling you before that they're all not Chinese. That's all. That was my point.
They're not?
Some of them are from different countries. Different places is all. That was it.
China originally, though?
I don't know. I think they all came from Africa originally, right? Isn't that where human beings came from?
Right.
And then we migrated around.
It must be a lot brighter in China.
Yeah.
And over time they were squinting so long that now they're just permanently squinting.
Wasn't it from the wind?
Could be the wind.
Yeah.
Is that what caused it?
But I don't know how that passes on from generation to generation. I mean, does a woman have to find a man with squinty eyes more attractive and then pass his genes on? Is that how it works? Oh, God.
Or her eyes were so squinty she couldn't even see what he looked like.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter.
Huh. It might have worked the other way. Or guys were banging chicks with squinty eyes.
Yep. It was easier to get those girls.
Easier.
Especially when they're drunk.
Oh, God. I think they're attractive. I don't think there's anything wrong with any race, really.
Well, they are now, but if you were used to them, then maybe not so.
Yeah. Like if you'd never seen an Oriental and then all of a sudden, boom, you saw one when you were like 40 for the first time. You'd be like... Because people had to discover the Orientals, right? Like there had to have been a first white person that came across one.
Right.
We tend to look at all, when you're European, you tend to look at all exploration like from the point of view of the Europeans. Like other countries didn't explore, you know? It's like, it's weird.
They just didn't document it.
That could be it.
Or they lost their...
They lost the documentation.
Somebody got a hold of their notes.
Accidentally burned it.
Why don't we explore anymore? Like, we need something new.
Yeah. It's funny when we got around the whole Earth, like we went around the whole Earth and kind of figured out what it all was, and then realized, shit, it's not that big. It seemed big way back then. But it turns out it ain't that big. When you compare it, I mean, what's if Earth was like 10 times bigger? Or 100 times bigger?
And we wouldn't have to worry about cutting down trees, because there'd be plenty of them.
I wonder if we would be taller. You know? Like, would everything be proportionally bigger?
Got a good point there.
It might be the same problem, you know? Eating a lot more food.
We need more space.
It only works well if we were our own size.
Would everything be bigger, though?
That's what I'm saying. Trees would be bigger? It wouldn't be more trees. There'd just be bigger trees.
Maybe not.
Maybe bigger planets make shit smaller. We would be smaller on a bigger planet.
Probably.
I mean, that's another idea. We could try to breed ourselves smaller. It just might be easier in the long run if you think about it. Like, easier to travel around.
Right.
We're just too big.
Doorways would be shorter.
Yeah. Like, breed ourselves down to like 6 inches tall, like a chihuahua. We may look like chihuahua-sized humans. That'd be fucked up.
We could build smaller houses that use less material.
Because if you could breed dogs and to turn it into something like that, I mean, I think it's conceivable. I mean, I know it's wrong to say this, but I'm just saying, just in theory, seems like over time you could do that. I wonder if you just take like a shorter person and breed them with another shorter person and then keep doing that. I'd like to see like the you know, what created the Chihuahua? You know, like what was the process of breeding?
Yeah. It started out, the first Chihuahuas were big, like the size of Dobermans.
Yeah.
They worked their way down.
They just kept breeding smaller and smaller ones. They just kept looking cuter when they were smaller, and they're like, oh, let's make a smaller one. Let's make a smaller one.
Isn't that what happened to the poodle?
It took it too far. What's if eventually our Chihuahuas are like 6 inches tall? The size of a hamster. Look at my dog.
They're trying for it.
How do you walk that dog in the dog show? You're like, you gotta have like a little special arena for that.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
Why not, right? Why not, if you're making dogs smaller, why not make other small animals bigger? Like mice and stuff.
Yeah.
Make them like the size of a pit bull.
You could create a whole new, like, class of pets. They would be like large rodents.
Right?
Be like fighting them and shit. They'd be like,
watchdog, forget about it. I got a standard size mouse.
You got a 120-pound mouse. That seems kind of dangerous, you know. Mice don't seem like they have the wherewithal to keep from eating you or something. Fucking gnaws your leg off.
Big hole in the door and walk right in.
There's like these giant mouse holes in the wall. They're like a foot. You come home from work and it's like a foot tall. The mouse has wedged himself in the wall. Oh God. You'd have to breed that behavior out of them.
Big old bee that can fly away with you.
Yeah. I used to have a recurring nightmare when I was a kid that big giant bees were around. It's fucking weird.
Well, they are around. You just don't see them.
Yeah. Well, not the size that I was dreaming about, though.
How big?
Like big, like giant.
Like you would need Godzilla to come save the day?
Yeah. Like Godzilla size. I think maybe I watched one too many episodes of Godzilla maybe when I was a kid.
I think that did it, right?
What I like about Godzilla is I think he's on our side, but we're not sure. So it's like he's trying to kill the bad guy, but we're still trying to kill him. It's confusing. He must really hate us.
What I don't understand about him is, why has he got to destroy everything? Can't he just walk around all them buildings? He's got to smash them all.
Yeah. It's probably tough to train a Godzilla. You know? There's no trainer for that. First of all, you'd only be training one animal. There's only one Godzilla. You couldn't make a job out of it.
You think if you saw a real Godzilla, that they'd be wearing the masks? They'd be like, "There's a Godzilla! Oh shit! Put your mask on."
Yeah. The problem is we don't have enough masks.
Not enough for Godzilla.
Right.
Oh, it's only Godzilla. Don't worry about it.
This is one of those times when I think about math. I think about there's some kind of statistical analysis that someone does that determines like how many ventilators we have, right? And this has gone on for years. It becomes like a dollar and cents thing. You can't have them just sitting there not making money, you know? It's
Right.
like having extra pop machines you're not using, basically. It's the same thing. It's just when there's a disaster like this, they realize, holy shit, we've been scaling back to the point of minimal operation to make the most money. That you start realizing how crooked these people are.
Or did Japan actually buy too many because they're obsessed with them?
I'm just saying we should have already had them. There should have been enough where someone had the common sense. You know, they always had those pandemic drills in the hospital. Did someone ever just pipe up and say, you know what, we've only got 10 fucking ventilators here. When 100 people come, we're fucked. It would have seemed easy to figure out at the time. They should have called me up when they were doing this.
These are the people that are dying.
Yeah. They got like one actor in a fake room. It's like...
No, the people that didn't get the ventilators.
Yeah.
You call up before you get to the hospital. How many ventilators do you have? You might want to go
How many got
somewhere
open? Yeah, you don't want to end up at the wrong hospital. Shit. My problem is I'm exposed to a lot of people every day, like 30 to 50 people a day. So my chance of getting it is like really good.
But also your chance of survival with those big old lungs of yours is even better. They say drink a lot of water because it washes in your stomach and kills it.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
I know.
There's so much bullshit out there, it's crazy.
Nestle came up with that.
I think you should drink water enough. I think one of the problems you can have too is like, let's say you shelter in place. Well, if you don't get enough sun, then your vitamin D gets low, and that makes you like immune deficient. So if you end up with no vitamin D, you're fucked.
As a result of everyone hanging out. Turns out we don't even like each other. All have
Yeah, this turned out to everybody gets to hide in their own little bubble.
There's a bunch of domestic violence cases. You know, it's on the rise.
Yeah. It like went up by like 30% or something.
It's because people don't hang out with each other anymore like the good old days.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, if I had known you, if this happened long ago, I might not even have married you. Turns out I didn't know you after all.
Yeah, all I hear is you breathing in the thing, and I can't hear you talk. It's just too... Can you move it to the side, maybe? The mic?
Maybe.
Yeah, try that.
Is that better?
Yeah, just as
better?
long as... I know you're busy. Am I hearing wind?
Probably.
You're right, I probably am. Yeah, it's wind. Nothing I can do about wind. You need one of those like wind things you put on the mic. It's like a little fluffy. Yeah. That would help.
I'm guessing. Let me see where we go. Hey, I got a dust mask.
Dust mask. There you go.
Let me tie it over there and see if it helps. Hold on. These things are working. Give me 2 seconds. I gotta take my headset off.
I like the sound that's making. It's like kind of like space kind of sound. It's like you got some kind of weird space weapon. Oh shit.
hear me?
Yeah.
It won't. Fuck, it won't stay.
Oh, that's all right. I'll call you back another time. I don't care.
No. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Alright, I got the wind guard on. See if you hear it anymore.
Wow. Good thinking.
Is it better?
Yeah.
I tied a dust mask on it. This was brought to you by 3M, the makers of dust masks.
Yeah. They're hard to come by. I work with the public, so but I won't let them, we have a store that I work in, but we decided not to let anybody in anymore. We keep them at the door in their car, and we just bring their stuff out, or we meet them at the door. We don't let anyone in the building.
That's stupid.
Well, we can't risk these people bringing, some of them work in hospitals and shit, and what are they going to go in there, work all day, and then come and pick up equipment? We just can't risk it.
I don't blame you, but it's still stupid.
So instead of people coming in and picking out what they need and shit, I gotta go get it, It's like, I'd bring them the thing, and then they're like, oh, wait a minute, I need this. And then, so I walk all the way fucking back. And then they're like, oh no, wait, I need 2 of those. It's like, what the fuck, dude? It's like, dude. And I work with a dude from New York, and after the 3rd time, he's telling people.
Do you have a mouse Lindsay could use? She needs a mouse for work. She wants me to take a picture of it.
My daughter gets to work from home, so I just got interrupted about a mouse. A mouse is cheap. It's like $15. She wants me to send her a mouse. You know what that's going to cost me? It's like, I got to pay to ship it. It probably can't cost much more to buy one.
Right.
How much do they go for? People don't even use them anymore. It's like a commodity item.
You get one for $5 probably at the dollar store.
Yeah, it'd probably cost me like $10 to ship it. I don't get people.
Yeah, why don't you just go get one?
Yeah. I don't understand people.
I'd say here's what you gotta do. I'm also sending you a gift card for the grocery store. And I want you to go buy all the ingredients to start making me a batch of cookies and mail them bitches back.
Yeah.
While you're home.
Does this one work?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're gonna take my mouse now.
Sorry, she needs it. She's uncomfortable.
God. I use that mouse when I gotta work from home. I use the mouse because I don't want to use the mouse on the laptop.
Too bad. Another thing, down.
Yeah.
Taken.
I'm not working from home. I have a store now. I have to go to work every day. But see, this is security equipment. It's not like you can just not sell it. It's hard to, if people don't have it, then they can't.
I told my kids I'm not going to make a will because I'm pretty sure by the time I'm old enough to need one, you will have taken everything anyway.
Yeah, no doubt.
By weight. You will have gotten everything by then.
I'd rather watch you enjoy it. Basically. That's what I need, someone to tell me that.
What?
It's like I just don't see any, anything that I'm going to get from anything.
Ever?
Probably
yeah,
not. Yeah.
Those days are gone.
Yeah. It's fucking history. The people before us, milked our family so bad, there was, nothing salvageable. You know what I'm saying?
Not even the name.
Right. It's like, oh God, that was a fucked up group of people.
Who?
It's, what's funny is they had such a good thing going. If they had just worked it right, it could have just kept going and paid for everybody.
they were so far in La La Land and at J.C. Penney's that they couldn't even recognize it was going to go. See, the 50s is the problem. They had it so good, they never thought it'd be this bad. It couldn't possibly get this bad. Blame the 50s.
The 50s? Blame the people that eat monkeys.
Well, them too. Well, we're already past that epidemic. We're on to the bat eating. And where is Batman during this whole thing? You think he'd have some fucking ideas?
I was wondering, like they're saying the virus lives, and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, how long does it live on a booby? By now it seems like they already know what I buy. When I go to the store, they keep track of everything you buy. It's like, why do you even have to go through the process of walking through aisles anymore? They should just be able to hand you the shit you normally buy.
They have that.
No, I mean, without you even thinking, without you ordering. I'm just telling you, they just give it to you. They're like, this is your shit you buy. Here you go. It's like,
right.
You don't even have to order it.
You call them up, you're like, hey,
give me my normal shit.
I noticed there was something missing on my order. Oh yeah, what is it? There's no shampoo and conditioner. Oh yeah. It's like, it's always hard when we have to tell you this, but you should just use bar soap with that last little bit of hair you got.
They probably even know, like, the rotation of your cookies. Like, one time you buy the white Oreos, then you buy the big chunk chocolate Chips Ahoy, then you buy, like, something. They could rotate it based on what you bought. Like, they could tell. It's not like you get the same cookies every time. They know the rotation.
The dispensaries out here, you got to go to the curb, apparently. I heard
Wow.
they come out. I mean, that's even better. It's like, it's back like the old days.
Right.
When you bought it off the street.
Well, yeah, people might not go back from the way we set this up now, where people just walk up and you hand them shit. It's like, fuck, if I don't know you were going to do that.
You don't even need stores after all. You could just hand them the shit right in the parking lot. You just
drive up and we hand you and we drive up. Fucking a lot fucking
it's like
easier.
The good old days.
Yeah. People will get fatter. It's like...
Yeah, they will.
Like, the only thing keeping people somewhat skinny is because they got to walk to the food.
That company that sells the carts in the store, the mobile carts, you notice it's always some fat person on that cart?
Oh, yeah.
You're like, dude, get up and walk around at least while you're buying the shit that's making you fatter.
That's my
Come
point.
on.
You got to at least work that off.
You got to offset it a little.
Yeah. You got to burn 1,000 calories to take off some of the 10,000 you're going to eat today.
Right? All the junk food should be it should be like on the 4th floor, and there's like a huge ramp in a circle to get up there. So you got to do like at least a mile.
You got to climb a rope.
Yeah.
It's like, what's that show? It's like
Ninja Warrior. That's
they
it.
Keep the cupcakes at the end of the Ninja Warrior. Those guys don't even eat cupcakes.
Right.
Maybe one a year on a
They're
birthday party, but that's about it.
This is Flora. She's an unemployed mother.
I work with a dude who's like a bodybuilder kind of dude. He's a big dude. And he's like, and we'll have junk all the time, like donuts and bullshit that's free and stuff. He won't eat any of that shit.
Yeah.
It's like he's keeping track of every single thing that's going in his body.
It's good.
He knows that's going to end up as fat somewhere. So.
Well, it depends on what your metabolism is on your diet as far as that's concerned.
Yeah.
Because some junk is good when you're bodybuilding. It depends on where you're at. Your BMI, right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
BFI.
I wonder what my BMI is. What's your BMI?
Mine is like, it's like really low, super low. It's like 5.5. And I says, is that unhealthy? He says, well, the trainer that I was working with, if it was a 4.5, you'd be dead.
What's your height, and be honest?
My height?
Yeah.
It depends on how many beers I've had.
No, honestly.
I was 5'8", but I think gravity's taking its toll on me. I'm probably around 5'7".
And what's your weight? I know I lost an inch too.
122.
Okay, let's see. Calculate. Okay. Yours is 19.11.
Percent?
No, that's your BMI, not your percentage.
Uh-oh.
Okay, mine, let me see what mine is.
I was gonna say.
Wow, mine is 19.93. Damn, we're close. How's that possible?
I don't know. Maybe because we're brothers.
It says between 18.5 and 24.9 is normal. And you're at like 19.11. You're like on the edge of being normal. But I'm not far off. I'm pretty close to being on the edge too. But you're like right there, dude.
Almost normal, but not normal?
No, you're normal, but just barely like...
I think they've been lying to everybody.
Huh.
Because if I'm just normal, these people they're calling normal are nowhere near normal.
Yeah. Well, no, because you're at the bottom, though, of what they consider normal.
So?
Right. You
There's
could be...
nobody my size.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying most people now, they got to adjust what they consider to be normal. I think what they're saying is this is the healthy space to be in.
Oh. Look up what it says dangerously fat is.
You could look up, like, what's the average BMI? I guess you'd have to say in the United States. Oh, man.
It's
People
like
are
they
scared.
send out
Like, people are dying who are, like, young people, you know?
right?
So,
Keep on eating them Pop-Tarts and see you.
I don't know. I don't know how healthy I am. I mean, I was, like, thinking about if I get it, I gotta quarantine myself.
I'm not gonna get it. I guarantee that. Even if I did, I wouldn't die from it.
Mm-hmm.
You know why?
Why?
I wouldn't, for one, I would never even know I had it. Because I'm not going to no doctor.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not
I
either.
just think I had flu.
Well, if you get the flu right now, it's probably not the flu. But it could be the flu because people still get the flu.
Yeah, it's the flu. The whole thing is the flu, man.
The whole thing's just made up, right?
I could easily survive the coronavirus. You know how?
Drink a lot first.
God wants me to work a lot more years. He's not going to let me out that easy.
Yeah. Me too.
He ain't going to let me off that easy. You're like, please, God, let the coronavirus take me instead of this poor innocent person here in the hospital. And then he's like, Anthony, you know, if I let you die and him survive, this shit ain't gonna get done.
Yeah.
You know that already. That's why you have no employees.
You'd be like wishing to God that, like, you're like, man, I wish this is it. I wish you could just end this life for me already. You know, that's like your wish, right? And
Yeah.
and then he's like, oh shit, I'll do that for you. And this is what he causes. He's like, I'm gonna kill a whole bunch of other people too. Just because of your wish, you know what I'm saying? This is the way he chose to do it. He's like,
That's how I came up with AIDS.
yeah, I could have just dropped the piano on you, but I figured, you know what? Let's cause a world virus. Have they kill you.
This reminds me of when a guy wished for AIDS to get rid of homosexuals.
Yeah.
It kind of spread to everybody. Turns out it didn't discriminate.
Yeah. Wow. That'd be a weird thing to wish for and cause. It's like you're the cause of it. We found the cause. Somebody wished that they would croak, and God gave us this.
They said AIDS came from having sex with monkeys. That's not true. That's the first question you ask God. Did AIDS come from having sex with monkeys?
He's like, you
and
can
he
ask
goes,
any question.
You are monkeys.
Yeah, you are monkeys.
What do you mean? I don't get it. Is this a joke? You're the hairless monkey.
You're the hairless mush
Like
monkeys.
Planet of the Apes.
The hairless monkeys. That'd be funny if God couldn't tell that we were human. He thought we were monkeys.
Got any more questions? And you're like, yeah. How come we didn't get a tail?
Yeah. Where's our tail?
He's like, well, I thought about that, and I figured a hairless tail probably get cold, so you should thank me.
Yeah, it would probably be hairless. It'd be like
cold all the time. I did you a favor getting rid of the tail. Gets in the way anyway. Don't you have enough things to joke about? What, you want a tail now?
we probably had one and we like bred it away, you know.
We did.
Yeah.
We did. It was the whole thing, like
when we were a lizard.
Like they said about the ball, like you said about the bald people. Same concept.
What?
Only the tail. Women didn't like tails.
They didn't like hair?
They didn't like tails. Well, they don't like hair, but they didn't like tails back then because they were tired of trying to make pants that fit right with different tails. So they just got rid of it. They started breeding with guys with shorter and shorter tails until they just were gone.
You'd have to cover it up. You couldn't expose it like probably like...
You've been charged with tail exposure.
It would be like one of those things we hide.
Didn't your parents teach you better?
He took his tail out.
Right.
Getting
You have to change it. Like, you couldn't say you're getting some tail. You couldn't say that anymore. You'd be like, what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get me some tail. We did have tails. That's where that came from. Back in the day. I'm gonna go get me some tail.
Huh.
You'd be like, there'd be a special doctor for tails. You know, like a foot doctor or a bone doctor. You gotta go see the tail doctor. What happened? Did you get it caught in a fan? No, it's just starting to shed. Wonder what was causing it.
It's got a rash.
I got a tail rash.
Got a tail rash. That's probably a real thing.
Yeah.
Gotta get some ointment for that.
Condoms. I told you to put your tail away when you on a date. Now you caught tail herpes.
Huh. I was looking. We haven't done a show in so long. I was looking at my notes and stuff that I wanted to talk about.
You're like, what's that rash on your tail? And you start running around in a circle trying to see it.
Yeah. It's like, and here's one thing that I wrote down. One was, there's a Democratic primary in South Carolina recently, and this is what I found out about South Carolina, that let's say you're in the Republican Party, you can vote in the Democratic primary. They let anybody vote in the primary. And it's so weird, because people think Bernie Sanders is going to do terrible. So, all these Republicans are like, so we'll vote for Bernie Sanders. It's it seems like such an unfair thing to do to, just erroneously vote for the guy you know is going to lose just to screw up the whole...
Why, just in case he wins then, and then you got a yo-yo?
Yeah, no, they just want to make sure that the person they pick will lose against Trump. They're not voting for the guy they want to win. They're voting for the guy they know will lose against Trump.
Yeah.
So it's like such a unfair kind of weird tactic.
The whole thing is just messed up, dude.
I just think the person with the mindset who goes in and does that is just a screwed up person, in my opinion. They're just, let's go vote for the wrong guy.
It turns out
the fuck?
Electoral College is actually aliens, and they've been deciding who's going to be in there since Reagan.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there was another thing, too. It was, they found out that there's 2 species of red pandas.
Really? There's a
it's like, what the
male
fuck?
and a female.
No, 2 species. It's like, was there some kind of confusion at some point? Or... I don't understand where that comes up.
Soon that's going to be the next thing. Someone's going to eat a panda, and it'll be the next virus.
Yeah.
We ate the new type of red panda. It started a new epidemic.
Oh yeah, and then I wrote what's the over under on people getting it? You know what I'm saying?
What's the whole idea?
It's like that's a legitimate thing. Since you can't bet on sports now or anything, it's like you could bet on the over and the under on this.
Oh, here's something I was going to
That
talk
seems
about
legit.
today.
It's a legitimate bet.
Check this out. Imagine how long you think it's going to be before these billionaires who own these sports teams just throw in the towel. Say, fuck it. Can't get commercials. I can't get this. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to waste any more money on this team. Goodbye.
Well, I don't think they're going to pay all these players for not playing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not going to be long before it's just gone. Watch. It won't take long for professional sports to disappear altogether. Because of that.
I don't think football is going to disappear.
Sure it will.
No. Well, like in 500 years, maybe? I don't know. I mean...
Well, I'm saying, like,
100 years?
say they shut down professional sports next year.
Yeah.
They're going to get rid of teams because they're costing too much money. They're not making any money. We're not getting commercials and all that shit for watching the game. And Budweiser.
I don't see this interrupting the football season.
I sure do.
You do? You think it's going to go that long?
They're going to protest.
Huh.
Yeah, they will.
They're
like, he has coronavirus. Let's shut down the game. You know what? He had coronavirus last year, too.
Yeah,
they just didn't know about it.
Players start getting it, like NFL players.
It's always been around. They're calling one strain of the flu the coronavirus just to start this whole shit to see how stupid people are.
Well, I hope you're right.
I'm sure of it. Because that's why more people haven't died. Because check this out. Why wouldn't we do this with the flu then? Way more people die from the flu. Why aren't we all shutting down and staying away from people with the flu and spraying ambulances and all that shit? We're like, the flu, just let people die of that. We already know about that. Because it's not the new fad.
Well, it will happen eventually. If this becomes a cyclical thing, like every year you get it increases and then decreases and increases, and it just keeps coming back. It'll be just another thing that we get.
That's
Just
it.
like
It
anything.
is, dude.
Right?
It already was. It was already here. This isn't new. They chalked it up as a flu death before
Mm-hmm.
because they didn't know about it. All the symptoms of the flu, respiratory issues, runny nose, all that shit they say. And then they're like, well, he died of the flu, but he died of the coronavirus, and they didn't even know about it. They didn't put a name on it
Huh.
yet. They just assumed it was the flu.
You don't think they're
Like-
testing people and they can see that the guy has the flu with a test or something?
Yeah, it's the same thing as this one. So what do? They took the flu virus and they put fancy little doilies around it and called it the fucking coronavirus. Well, here's
Funny how weird microscopic things look, sometimes in such cool little detail, and they're so
Right.
tiny. It's like
Here's how possible that is. Ready?
some of those little things, like those little things that you're talking about, those things are like a few molecules wide and shit,
Imagine
Weird.
if we made viruses big, or like
Yeah.
the size of a chihuahua, and it just like plowed into you and it left a hole.
Just jumped on you and started eating your head.
Here's how I know it's possible that's what it could be. Because for a long time, they were chalking up incidents of drowning as just plain drowning. But it turns out that some of these boats were putting off so much carbon monoxide that they were actually passing out and then drowning. And they found this out because they tested some coroner had an idea of testing their blood or something and said, wow, there's a lethal amount of CO2 in their, or carbon monoxide in their blood. Carbon monoxide.
Yeah.
And then they just not too long ago realized that you could easily get killed by your own boat from traveling too close behind it on a kneeboard.
Is
They
that
used
what
to just
you-
call it a drowning.
Huh. So when you're getting pulled behind the boat, you could get a carbon monoxide?
Oh, hell yeah.
What if you're skiing,
for
like
one,
water skiing?
Well, I think they found that the way they actually found out it was happening was because they were hanging onto the ski board, the runner board, and they were just, like getting dragged behind the boat.
Yeah.
And then they show a video of this kid just falling off, and they thought he drowned. But then they found out his level of carbon monoxide was lethal. So he was breathing the exhaust from the back of the boat, having a good old time on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Turned out he was killing himself, being too close to that motor. And then there's no catalytic converters and shit like that on those boats. So you're getting like even a worse amount than a normal car engine would be.
Yeah. It's like a straight pipe.
Yep. So here's something.
There's got to be some
that
kind
they
of
chalked
muffler.
up for years, and then they finally found out it was something different. Same concept. They didn't look close enough at the whole idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And had they looked closer to these drownings,
Like Forensic Files or something. You ever see that show?
I don't know what made them decide to do a blood test
Mm-hmm.
or to find out there was a high level of CO2, but So
Well, we sell
Coronavirus
these
is
camera systems now
Just
that
didn't come
can detect your
sudden.
temperature. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Yeah. So
That's
now
a good
everybody
idea.
wants it. But now there's like all these rules about HIPAA violations and shit. It's like it's getting kind of testy.
oh, like it's against it's civil rights to be able to
Yeah.
test the way.
But I think in an airport, when people are walking in, they should be able to tell who has a fever. They can already pat you down in private places. So, like,
Hey, you got a fever, and then everyone runs from you.
Like, turn your head and cough. Oh, God.
That's messed up. That's pretty messed up right there.
Well, they want a lot of money for these systems, too. It's not cheap. Just for one camera. But you could put up to 8 cameras on the recorder. So, that's the most...
Oh, it's the recorder that actually does the...
Well, no, the camera does something, but there's some analytics in the recorder that takes the video and does something in the analytics. I don't know if it figures out what the different shades of color the camera's given it determine this, you know what I'm saying? But there's not enough processing power in the machine to do more than 8 of these cameras. So for every 8 cameras you got to buy another machine.
What if this goes on for like years, and then stuff like sports and rock and roll and all that shit, no one learns about it, so they don't even care about it, and it just goes away? Never thought of that.
What do you mean?
All the bars. Like, say it went on for 20 years, this shutdown. And then all of a sudden bars are no longer, there's something of the past.
Yeah.
You know, all things.
Or restaurants altogether.
Concerts.
Yeah.
Sports, everything. It's just a thing of the past.
Everything will be like electronically viewed, you know?
Everything that we do entertainment-wise or anything will involve something you're doing at your house.
Yeah, electronically. Or, yeah.
It happened.
I guess. I don't know. Well, people are already adapting, so it's like...
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
The people who really didn't like each other are getting in domestic confrontations.
Yeah. I don't have the energy for that kind of bullshit.
Back to the day where there's like dinner time. Sit at the table and have dinner like the old days.
Yeah. We just won't have any food. We could pretend like we're eating dinner. That's what we can do.
Well, dinner will be drawing straws to see who we're going to eat next.
The dog's gone.
Well, when this shit happened, everyone panicked and bought a bunch of shit. I didn't buy anything but food. I'm like, that's all I need.
That's all I bought.
And then I brought home apples, and I told everyone, I'm like, the dog better hope we don't need these. To stick in his mouth when we barbecue him.
Oh, God. That might happen.
Yeah. It's gonna happen. What? Someone's gonna eat the dog, man, because they're gonna run out of food. I mean, how hungry do you have to be before you eat your dog?
Well, if you got like a Chihuahua, again with the Chihuahua, you're not gonna get. That's like one person's. You need a couple of Chihuahuas.
It's like a Cornish hen, a Chihuahua.
Yeah. You probably could eat a Chihuahua though.
They're probably pretty tasty.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen. I mean, it'll only be a couple weeks of not eating before you eat the dog.
Yeah.
Before you get past it. But you can make like spices for dogs.
Yeah. Like Montreal dog seasoning.
Yeah, it'll be dog seasoning.
Yeah.
Right? What kind of dog do you have? Oh, a German Shepherd. They're kind of tough. I would use this meat tenderizer.
Yeah.
And
you gotta probably smoke
Hidden
it.
Valley Ranch.
I'd smoke it. What do you got in that smoker? I got your dog. You got the neighbor's dog in the smoker.
Oh, damn, that's bad. I came over because I smelled my dog at barbecue.
What are you cooking over here? Oh yeah, I'm missing my dog. Have you seen my dog? No, I haven't seen it.
Right? takes you to court. You're like, Your Honor, this dog, it wandered into my yard. That's the law. You can eat it as long as it wanders into your yard. You hear me?
Yeah. You kill the dog and you smoke it. Then you serve it to him for lunch. Hey, why don't you come over and have a sandwich for lunch? He's like eating his own dog.
This dog's named Reuben. And you're like, what kind of sandwich is this? A Reuben.
Oh, God. I wonder if people eat cats. I know people eat dogs, but I don't think as many people eat cats. It's probably bad luck in like a lot of countries to eat a cat.
The cat probably sensed it and he's gone. Where's the cat? I was gonna eat that little fucker. He took off like you were gonna eat him or something. Dog cats are smart enough to know that when their day is coming.
Yeah.
That's where the saying, every dog has its day, came from. You never heard every cat has its day.
I'm going to start saying that.
You're like, why'd you say that? I'm a cat lover. I'm not a dog.
I never liked the dogs.
Hey. Oh, I thought, man.
Every cat has his day.
We really got to seriously think about bringing back the 70s lingos. Jive turkey.
What time is it? Yeah, I gotta go to bed eventually. I'll call you back.
That's how you know how someone is, if they know what that, if they've ever heard jive turkey.
Alright, I'll call you another time. Don't cause any trouble.
Ha, there's nothing open. How can I cause trouble?
Alright, bye.
Eat an apple.